So hey everybody, Jeff here with Resale Heroes. I am here doing a collaboration video with Sabrina from the magical world of thrifting. And so why don't you go ahead and talk a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So my name is Sabrina, and my channel is all about my journey selling on eBay. I do sell a little bit on Mercari and Poshmark, but I am mostly an eBay girl, and I just love selling all kinds of fun things like media and toys and dolls, a little bit of clothing, and just whatever I think will make me money. And the name of my channel basically started off because I started reselling on eBay because I wanted to make extra money to pay for a Disneyland trip. So that's where the whole magical thing comes from. And yeah, I'm just really excited to be here with you. And this is fun. So go ahead and tell us about you.
Awesome. So, we have similar channels in the sense that we kind of talk about similar things where we talk about what sold for us recently, what works, what doesn't, what good things happened, what bad things happened, things to look out for, tips and tricks. And so we specialize in video games. And in the past few months, we accumulated a very large amount of DVDs, movies, Blu-rays, and all that stuff. So I was just telling Sabrina, we have a very eclectic offering. So we sell almost everything that can be shipped. So I've got Pokemon cards here that I was working on. We have hockey cards, we have video games, consoles, everything you'd see behind my screen, just a little bit of everything, right? And again, it's everything has value to somebody somewhere. And we don't discriminate for what we sell. And but yeah, so the purpose of this video, Sabrina and I have been bouncing back and forth for close to a year now on each other's videos, just encouraging each other, commenting. And I've been wanting to do this for such a long time, but this is actually my first time hosting. So hopefully this is all going to go well. But yeah, so we just thought it would be a cool idea to do this together. And essentially we're going to be sharing with you each a few items of what sold for us recently. And Sabrina, feel free if you want to give a little backstory on those items, if it comes with an interesting story. And if you want, you can just go right into it and share your 3 items right now. And then I can do mine after.
All right. So my first item is going to be this lot of Disney princess doll clothing. Now, something that I've learned is a lot of the Disney princess dolls, especially the more modern ones, don't sell that good, or they're harder to sell, mostly just because there's just so many of them. The market is so saturated with Disney princess dolls, and you can find them anywhere. And you can get them for pretty cheap too as well. But some of the Disney dolls that I would look for would be ones that come from the Disney Store. And you may need to do a little bit of research to know what those ones look like, and also some of the vintage ones. However, I did have a bunch of random princess dresses that I just accumulated throughout the year of just purchasing, a bunch of lots of different doll stuff. And this is just one of the many sets that I've put together, and it sold for $15. And I honestly feel like that's probably more than what these dolls would have sold if I would have been selling the dolls. So that's just a tip that I have. A lot of times, if you have a doll that's not worth that much, I would consider just selling her outfit alone and maybe redonating the doll back to the Goodwill or something like that.
Just a random question, Sabrina. Which princess is the dress on the right? The pink one.
Right. So that one, I believe, is going to be Sleeping Beauty.
Okay.
Aurora. Yeah.
I didn't study my Disney princesses before.
You should have.
I guess. Cool item.
So my next one is actually a 2-for-1. I did sell this Unsolved Mysteries DVD box set. These actually belong to my husband and I. We did collect all the Unsolved Mystery sets back in the what was it? Like the early 2000s. This was before streaming and all that. So we like love Unsolved Mysteries. So we had all the different sets, like the ghosts, the UFOs, the bizarre murders, and
There was a lot of them.
yeah. So we had the whole set, and we like I think we bought them like at Rasputin's and like Streetlight Records and stuff. And we had this really cool set. But now we just stream Unsolved Mysteries whenever we want to watch it. And these sets had just been picking up dust in our house, basically. So when we were moving, I asked my husband, "Mom, what do you think about selling the Unsolved Mystery sets?" He's like, "Do it," because he's really all about like getting rid of things. Versus me, I have a harder time letting go of stuff. But he's just like, "Nah, sell them." He's if you can make like $100, that's awesome. That's like more than what we spent on it.
Yeah.
But little did he know, like the value of these were really good. So I sold this one yesterday, but I also sold another set, which was the UFOs, to the same buyer. So he bought Ghost and UFOs. Ghost sold for $40. UFOs sold for $17.
Okay.
And yeah, it was pretty awesome. I was really happy about that. I did sell Bizarre Murders was 60, I think. I've already sold that one. And I still have Strange Legends and Psychics available in my store, but those ones are the most valuable ones. I think maybe because less of them were made.
Yeah.
So they're a little bit harder to find. So I have those listed at about $100 a piece, but they haven't sold just yet. I'm waiting for the right buyer to come along. But yeah, I mean, these are great bolos. Anything like this. And I think a lot of people actually probably collect these as like collectors more than actually want to watch them.
And it's funny because one of the items that I'll show later is also a box set. And so out of curiosity, how much is it going to cost you to ship those two together, roughly?
So the buyer actually asked to pay extra for better shipping. So he actually wanted me to ship it first class.
Okay.
But because he bought two of them, they weigh over a pound. So I had to ship it priority. So I just charged him an extra couple dollars. I think I charged him like $3 more. And because of the fact that he bought two of them, I had no problems with shipping them both out priority mail. And it ended up costing me $8 to ship them.
So how much would it cost if it wasn't super shipping?
Yeah, so if I shipped it medium mail, which is the cheapest, because I know you're in Canada, so things are a little bit different on your end.
Yeah. That's why I'm asking, and I'll tell you how much it's going to cost. It would cost me.
So it would have cost me if I would have just shipped it United States medium mail. It would have cost me around $4 to ship.
That's amazing. So for us, the short version is if it's less than 2 centimeters thick or 20 millimeters, it ships basically letter mail or whatever with anywhere between $2 and $6. But a box set like that, we have to ship it as a parcel, which essentially means it comes in a box and it starts at $15. And that's it's intense. So that's a big and it's funny because a lot of our American buyers don't realize this. And you guys are, I mean, I don't want to say lucky, but fortunate to basically have tracking with almost everything. But no, cool item. Really cool.
Do you ever get buyers who email you that try to like tell you like how to ship it and that you could ship it cheaper? Like if you do it this way, you can ship it cheaper. Do you ever get that?
Sometimes, but usually it's more like we're shipping a rare item and they're like, we want you to ship it. So we had this buyer who bought, what was it? It was a Doctor Strange and it was about 2 feet long. So it was long enough. And it was a pretty big, like it was a gigantic action figure that was worth like 200 Canadian dollars. And he told us to put it in a box, wrapped in this and that. And to have like just very specific packing instructions. And we had a similar guy who asked us for like, it was only like a $20 game, but it was a super rare one. And he basically, I forget what he asked, but it was like, he wanted to wrap it up like a tank and just to make sure it got there safe. But I mean, usually we get, I don't want to insult anybody, but instead of suggestions, we're more likely to get complaints than anything else. So that's all I'm gonna that's all I'm gonna say about that. But I could see people, I mean, some people would make those kinds of suggestions for sure.
Yeah.
So what's your next one?
So next is this Ninja Turtle action figure. This is the Soldier Clan.
Yep.
Foot Soldier Clan. So I wanted to post this guy because if you watch my channel, I actually talk a lot about girl toys. And I just have a lot of girl toys. And the reasoning for that pretty much is because I'm a girl. So I had a lot of girl toys, you know, growing up. I know about them. And then also I have a daughter. So you know, I know a lot about like the more modern girl toys too. But I'm really, really trying to my hardest to like learn more about like boy toys and like action figures and stuff like that. But I mostly want to sell like vintage. And I see a lot of Ninja Turtle stuff all the time, but to me, it always seems like it's more modern Ninja Turtles, and I'm not sure about those. But this was one of my first finds in my new town that I live in. So I was like really excited that I'm starting to sell some new stuff that I'm finding here. But I did get this at a Savers thrift store, and it came in a pack of like 3 other Ninja Turtle toys. So this was the only one that I sold separately, and the other 3 I bundled them together. And I sold him for $25, but I am thinking this was probably a learning experience. I probably should have sold him for more because I noticed it was getting tons and tons and tons of attention, and it sold within listing it for about like, it was listed for like 2 hours and it sold. So I was thinking I probably could have sold it for more. But at the end of the day, I'm happy to learn about this, and this was a great profit, and it was fun.
Yeah,
Do you sell these? I know that you sell like collectible stuff. Do you ever sell Ninja Turtles?
we have sold some. We have a bunch for sale that haven't sold. But so the problem again is this might cost you $2, $3, $4 to ship, but it would cost me 15. So
Oh,
I
wow.
can't sell them in singles. But we do
Mhm.
have like, and some are really weird villains that I used to watch Ninja Turtles. And there's some villains and guys that I don't even know who they are. So it's like 4 mysterious, I can't even find their names. But we do have some for sale. We have sold some before. We actually have a large, like, so the Ninja Turtles have like a lair, like in the sewers. So we have like a really big, so think of a dollhouse for boys, you know, like a big lair for these 2 Ninja Turtles.
Oh,
And
cool.
it's worth like $200 or something. It's incomplete, but for the right person, it could be worth that. It's just, it would be a big pain to ship, but we've had it sitting in our storage for a while. But we do have some, and they're good sellers. Like, but yeah, it just depends, right? Like anything else.
So that big piece that you have for sale, is there pieces that could come off of it, or is everything pretty securely attached to it
There are a lot of pieces that could come off, but I think it's worth more
altogether?
altogether. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's several big pieces that it kind of it's kind of meant to fold together and kind of be carried. Yeah. So it's pretty cool, actually. If I would have had that growing up, I would have liked it.
Oh my gosh, it happens to me all the time. Sometimes when I find stuff, I'm like, I don't, my little girl in me doesn't want to sell it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have fun keeping it for a little bit.
Yeah, good.
All right. So I think that was my last one.
Awesome. So for me this week, I decided I wasn't going to choose necessarily our 3 biggest hitters. I mean, we've sold a PlayStation 4, we've sold Xboxes and PlayStations and all the good stuff. But I chose 3 that I thought were interesting or different. And I mean, of course, we made good profit on them. They're just not necessarily big sales. But so this one, we had 2 of these. So Corona is a brand of beer, and this is a small wooden cutting board. And in the bottom, there's a slot to put that magnetic knife in, and it all folds neatly together. It's a really cool item, actually. So we sold our last one. We had 2 of them. So we sold it essentially. So it was sold full price. So it was $29 plus $10 shipping. So let's call it $40. And it was good. It cost us, I want to say $2 or $3 per. So, really good flip. But we sat on it for like 6 months or so. So we sold one within a month, and then this one sold 6 months later, which is fine. It didn't take that much space, but it was a good flip. And yeah.
Yeah, those look like they would look really cool, like in a bar setting.
Yeah.
So that's probably used like where he will cut the limes, right? They use
Exactly.
that cutting board to cut the limes.
Yeah. Really cool.
Now I wish it was 5 o'clock.
Yeah, actually, I'm getting thirsty, but anyway. So this next one is different consoles. So the PlayStation, the Nintendo, whatever. There's a series called Buzz, the quiz. So essentially, everyone has a little receiver, kind of like in Family Feud or like Jeopardy or whatever, and the screen will pop out a question, and whoever presses the button first gets to answer, and it's kind of a family game or whatever. So this is the same idea, but it's the Scene It game. So for those that are not familiar with Scene It, so Scene It, SCENE, like a movie scene, it's a series of games that is the same idea, but it's all about movies. So they're going to ask specifics about movies, like what actor was in this movie, what movie is this line from, and whatever. But so this is essentially the game with the case. It has a little camera, like a wireless receiver for these 4 big buttons. And those are 4 wireless kind of controllers that you can press the buttons to lock in your answer. Like it's pretty cool. But this took forever to sell. But so I bought this at a pawn shop, I think for $10, and we just sold it for $44. It's going to cost me about $15 to ship. But so we would have made about $15, $20 on it, which is perfect. Like we're kind of happy to see it go because we have a few sets, and this is our first one that we sold. So it's all good.
I've never heard of that before. That sounds like fun. That's something that family would dig. Like I could totally see us play that, especially if they had like a Disney one, because we're a Disney family.
Yeah, there are some Disney ones. Disney's Seen It. So I have some downstairs, but
you're gonna like go to my store?
No. So there's board games that have Disney Seen It. I don't know.
We have those ones.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't know if they have these ones, but yeah.
Fun.
Yeah. So it's interesting. So this next one, it's funny that we both chose movies. So it's a box set of DVDs, and so it's a French movie series called Les Boys, which means the boys in French. And it's all about hockey and these goofy comedy guys doing crazy stuff, but they always end up winning and against all odds because they're like idiots and whatever. And so we've been buying a lot of DVDs in the past little while. And the thing so we buy them in bulk. We're not really choosy. As long as we can get them for 50 cents each, we'll get them. Box sets, I think they charge us a little more, maybe $1 or whatever. But I mean, when you're buying 100 or 200, they don't really care. They just want to get rid of them, right? So at this point in people's lives, DVDs just taking up space. So they want to get rid of them. So this set, so there's kind of a box at the top right. So it's like a big box that those 3 fit in. And 2 of them were actually still sealed. 2 of the 3 DVDs. So of course that means they have more value, and they were obviously overall in very good condition. So it didn't sell at full price. So I took this picture after our sale, but we had a store-wide sale because our sales were also kind of on the, so we had a 10% off our entire store. And it would have sold for about $62 plus $10 shipping, which is still fantastic. So again, it would have cost me 15 to ship. We would have paid $1 for it, which means we made about 40 to 45 of profit on it, which is fantastic. But so what I was going to say was, when you're buying a lot of DVDs, some of them, most of them are going to be worth $5 to $10. You know, like that's kind of the range. But you'll have the random odd one that's like a vintage Tom Cruise movie that only a few people know about, that may be worth 20. And you'll have like a random classic movie that was remastered that might be worth 30 or 40. And box sets obviously are worth more. So when you buy an entire collection and they just throw everything in there, most of them are 10 and under, but some of them are a lot more. But if you get them for so cheap, I mean, you win no matter what. And that's kind of the beauty of it. You can't go wrong. Even if, like, we actually bought a collection before, and I don't know if I ever told Jeremy this. So Jeremy, my business partner, but so I handle all the DVDs and I list them. And so I found some that were burnt DVDs, like fake ones. And obviously we can't sell that. So I had to just throw them out. We keep the case, of course, but we just throw the DVD out. But even if out of 100 of them, 10 are not good or unusable or too scratched, you're still making way more than what you put in. I mean, you would have paid $50 for 100 DVDs. You only need to sell like 10 or 20 of them to be in profit. So, but
and then you can bundle some of them together. Like if you have some
yes
that are like, oh, I have a bunch of horror movies, let's bundle all the horror movies together and whatnot. I mean,
yeah. So I have 2 full sets of Sex and the City. So there's season 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or something like that. And just series of movies like Spider-Man 1, 2, 3 and all these things. So of course, that's a good way to just bundle them up, and you only have to pay the shipping once. And there's all these little things that you can do to make it work. Right.
Exactly. And then something else that I really love about selling DVDs, and you kind of talked about this in your last video that you made with Sarah, is how when you, even if you're selling something for super cheap, it's like selling these really low item things that help you to sell the more expensive items. So that's why I like having a lot of really cheap DVDs on my store for like $5, $6, $7. It doesn't bother me because they're not really taking up very much space. I could ship them very quickly. And every time I sell one of those, it's boosting me up in the algorithm, and it is very therapeutic to my store. And the best way to make sales on eBay is to sell. So like every time you sell something, it helps you sell more and more and more and more. So that's why I would never turn my nose up to buying something that I know will sell fast, even if I'm not going to make a lot of profit on it, because I know it's going to, in the long run, it will help my store.
No, you're absolutely right. And it's something that we often forget. So, I mean, our sales are way down. They're about half of what they were in like April. However, we're selling a lot more stuff that, or I should say the stuff that we are selling has much higher profit margin than what we were selling then. So obviously we're still making less money because it's, I mean, half is a big number, but we're squeezing more out of the number that we have. And you got to take the small stuff with the big stuff. And like you say, it does help with your ranking in the algorithm. It gets you feedback, you know, and it's easy feedback. And if you sell 3 DVDs to the same guy, he's going to leave you 3 feedback, and that all kind of adds up. And the small stuff is what gets them in the door. And it's the same thing with shopping. I'm just going to say Walmart or whatever store you go to. They're going to have ridiculous sales on like 5 things. And so you go there and you buy that that thing that you want. But as you're walking back to the cashier, you're noticing all these other things that you'd like to buy, and they're hoping that you're going to get all this other stuff. And I mean, it's the same for us. So, but it's funny because I didn't watch your last video yet, but I saw the title, and I actually creeped your store a little bit, and I read the negative feedback that the person left, and I looked at all of the feedback, all the negative feedback that we were not able to change. It was all for $5 to $10 items, like the stupid stuff that the disc that doesn't work as well as they say that it should, or just the little stuff. And it's just, really, you leave us a negative feedback for that? And I'm just gonna make a little rant about negative feedback here for all you buyers out there.
Do it.
I have a video about negative feedback, but in my opinion, negative feedback should be the last resort, because it does negatively impact someone else's business. And for the buyers out there, when you buy something from eBay, you're buying it from someone like me or someone like Sabrina. You're not dealing with eBay. You're not dealing with Walmart. You're dealing with people. So when you're sending your hate mail, you're basically sending it to your neighbors. And when you're leaving negative feedback, it's like going to your neighbor's store and breaking their window and then asking for a refund. I mean, why? You would never do that. But give the seller a chance to help you out before leaving a negative feedback. Only leave a negative feedback if they were nasty with you or they refuse to help you out. Don't. Unfortunately, a lot of buyers use the negative feedback to force getting attention from the seller, and that's not right. But I mean, it is what it is. But I mean, if you've already left a negative feedback, there's nothing worse that you can do. So really, you're not encouraging the seller to help you at all.
Exactly.
So I mean, it's so silly. I mean, we do it anyways, but we wouldn't really have to. But anyway, whatever. So I don't want to rant for too long. But
I mean, the person who left me negative feedback, I put insurance on his item. So if he just would have reached out to me and said that he thinks, because you saw, he said that the way I shipped it made it worse, right?
Yeah. And that your photos were deceitful and whatever. I looked at the pictures; they looked fine.
Yeah.
Whatever,
So
right?
I think that if it did get damaged, if that really is truthful, obviously I want to help him, right? Because I definitely want all my customers to be happy with what they buy from me. So I would have helped him. But not only that, I put insurance on that. So if he would have messaged me and sent me pictures, I could have filed a claim and probably gotten that book for him to have for free, because I could have filed the dispute and then I could have refunded him. So just going straight to negative feedback like that didn't really do. The only thing that it did was hurt my business. But yeah.
And I mean, let's face it, it doesn't feel good to have a negative feedback. So it doesn't just hurt the business. It's not fun,
it hurts
right?
the feelings.
Hurts the feelings. We're human beings, I'm a man, but I have feelings too.
Exactly.
And I get upset sometimes with it's like, man. Anyways, so I will say that it may be worth a shot calling eBay again, but if have you made okay, so eBay has a funny way of getting people to remove feedback. So they absolutely want to make you make that request in the back office, where you go to a place and it's like, request to have negative feedback removed. And they always say no. So then you have to call.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
And so if you've done that and you call them again, I was on another stream and a lady suggested that, I think it was a lady, I forget. Anyway, whoever suggested it, that you gently ask for an escalation, because sometimes it's just that the person that you're dealing with, they just don't know how to deal with it, and they just kind of keep you in this circular loop until you hang up. You know what I mean? Like they don't really know what to do, so they just kind of keep repeating the same thing. Actually, I'm going to pull up. I saved this. You cannot minimize Zoom. Okay. Let's do this. So it was Secrets of Wanderlust Reselling who suggested that you can say something like, I appreciate your help. I would just like to escalate this a little further. Is there a manager I can speak to? How good is that? That's solid. So sometimes, like I've talked to, like, I don't want to say low level, but first contact customer people, and they were not helpful at all. I mean, they were polite and courteous and whatever, but they just didn't do anything. And then
Mhm.
you could call again and get someone that's super helpful and will take off 2 or 3 negative feedback without blinking an eye. So sometimes you're just not talking to the right person. But
Yeah. Well, the thing that kind of made me feel like, okay, maybe this is, I'm not going to get it removed is I tried reaching out to eBay for business a few times.
on
And
Facebook,
they're the ones that are normally really good at removing, but they just wouldn't do it. So after I got the
okay.
no from them, I was just ugh. Like, at what point do I stop? You know what I mean? Because I'm all this time I could be using to like do something more productive, like list or source or whatnot. It's like, at what point do I just throw in the towel? So that's kind of what I'm kind of struggling with right now. I may try it again though, like let it just like sit for a little bit and then maybe try one more time and see what happens. Okay.
So what you could do is wait until another negative feedback happens. And when you call about that one, you can get them to look at both of them.
Yeah, that's a
So
good
I,
idea
I
too.
try to snowball that sometimes when I get the opportunity to.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think that's a good place to wrap up,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
So Sabrina, this was great having you here and doing this with you. And I'd love
Yes,
to do
thank
this again
you.
sometime. And so
Yes.
guys, make sure to go check Sabrina's channel out. I will have her information in the description somewhere. And
And everyone from my channel, go ahead and go subscribe to Resale Heroes. And also, I just really wanted to mention that I really, really enjoy following you on Instagram. I feel I really like seeing, because you post a lot of like what solds and stuff on there. So I find that to be helpful. You're one of my favorites to follow on Instagram. So I definitely recommend that everyone not only go subscribe to your channel, but also to follow you on Instagram as well.
and I did not pay her to say that, but she also has an Instagram page that's really good. So yeah, so there's going to be links to all that. And thanks so much for watching. If you like that kind of stuff, make sure you like and subscribe. Let us know in the comments which item you thought was most interesting, what tip you liked the most, and if you have suggestions on how to deal with technicalities on getting feedback removed or anything like that, just let us know.
Mhm.
And we'll see you in the next video.
And never forget, when you drift upon a star, all your dreams will come true.
There you go. See you next time, people.